I figured out a long time ago that Enanthate just works the best for me. Masteron
Yeah.
Enanthate, Primobolan Enanthate, Testosterone Enanthate. It works the best for me. I get the most stable levels. I don't get any fluctuations. I feel good. It always metabolizes. I don't get any post-injection pain. But yeah, if you like prop, you like 25 milligrams every day, and you notice in the evening that your libido goes up because, again, it metabolizes quite quickly. And if that means that it's also tapering down already as you go to bed, you don't get this wakefulness. Like some guys, they get anxiety, right? Or they get
Yeah.
insomnia from TRT, especially in the beginning, because they're
Right.
androgen deficient. They go from 200 nanograms per deciliter to 800, and they're like, I can't sleep.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, then maybe a low dose prop, subcutaneous or intramuscular in the morning, will just bring you up high during the day, and then from 8 o'clock it starts to taper, and then by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock you can sleep again. Whereas with Enanthate, it's basically continuous the whole day.
Totally.
You know?
Primo, one of the things that I recognized about Primo and just learned is that, Primobolan Enanthate's a 10-day half-life. Is this along the lines of what you've seen?
Yeah, it kind of depends on which oil it's suspended in, because
Okay.
castor oil or Primobolan is produced in castor oil, and that might extend the half-life to 33 days or something like that.
33 days.
Yeah, so that was determined on testosterone undecanoate, so that's libido.
Yep.
So testosterone undecanoate usually has a half-life in tea oil of 12 days, and then in castor oil, 33.9 days. Off the top of my head, might be a little bit off, but it's a huge difference. So Primobolan, if you get that in castor oil, then I think the half-life is way longer than 12 days or 10 days.
Right.
I made a video about esters, testosterone esters, and I went through all the scientific literature, and you see for all of the esters, they have ranges.
Yeah.
And for trenbolone acetate, the half-life is different than testosterone acetate, not because it metabolizes differently, but because the carrier oils of the products that they test is different.
Interesting.
So
if someone injected, I don't know, 100 milligrams a week of Bayer Rimobolan in castor oil, Rimobolan Enanthate in castor oil, then that may be. It's like, how would that release over? Let's call it a 30-day period, right? I mean, if you're injecting it into a muscle depot, because of this extension in the half life, would you just get micro amounts released every day for
micro
30
amounts.
days?
Yeah. There's a great study of Kalacharan. It's not exactly a study, but I think it was a thesis or something that he made for university. He's a Dutch guy.
Yeah.
He made it on the University of Utrecht or Amsterdam or something like that. It's a 130-page document about drug metabolism and drug release from injection depots.
Okay.
It's called
Kalacharan.
Kalacharan. It's one of the best research papers that I read. He had his entire study and a lot of research in there. Yeah. So he did like MRIs on injection depots of nandrolone decanoate, and you just see the entire injection depot. It's not a circle. It just spreads. Right. And then it metabolizes into little droplets. So you have like a huge chunk here and then a huge chunk there, and then small droplets in between. And then over time, you see that all shrink. And the funny thing is, in the beginning, the injection depot, it doesn't have so much surface area because it's uniform. It's just one substance. But as it turns into little oil droplets, the surface area increases, and metabolism goes faster because lipases and esterases, they work on the surface of the injection depot and break it down. So in the beginning, you might not get so much of a response.
Right.
And then later on, as it metabolizes it actually increases its absorption. So with MCT oil, for example, that's so viscous, or so thin, it disperses through the injection depot very fast. It breaks into oil droplets very fast, and then the testosterone propionate or whatever is inside absorbs in 24 hours. Yeah, for example. Yeah. And this is sometimes also where the post-injection pain comes from, because it metabolizes so fast that the MCT goes away, and then the propionate goes away, and then all you're left with is testosterone that doesn't go anywhere because there's no water. Testosterone is water soluble, but the oil is away. There's no fluids, and this is where the inflammation and the post-injection pain comes from, where the water rushes into the tissue for the testosterone to go away, and then you get post-injection pain.
It's funny that you mentioned this study, which I think I may have come across at some point, but I don't know that I spent a whole lot of time on it, because what I've noticed in myself personally is that there will be, especially like large injections of a long ester. Like I just had to pin 200 milligrams of Propionate like a week and a half ago for a trip. It was just easy, and I didn't want to bring all my shit. And so, but the effects aren't the same every day. Like it just doesn't seem like a sustained release as it's marketed as. So I think
No,
people
it's
definitely
not.
need to understand that it definitely isn't just going to work in some fucking uniformed, even way throughout the
Oh,
next several. You kind of have to figure out how much it is releasing, and then kind of adjust your protocol based on how you feel. There's a lot of unknowns in that situation, and probably that long study would explain a lot of that.
yeah. You have testosterone undecanoate, libido, right? And they do the 4 milliliter shot, the 1,000 milligrams. And the
Wow.
first week you feel fucking great.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, you start to feel emotional because this is where the aromatization starts to happen, right?
Right.
Week two, you feel like a little girl. You want to watch the Titanic and cry and eat ice
Uh-huh.
cream, you know?
Uh-huh.
And then week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you cannot wait for the next injection. I think testosterone libido in a single shot or testosterone decanoate is torture
Yeah,
as
sure.
hormone replacement therapy.
Totally.
Because
And
you see,
would you
you see
suggest
what
people microdose that or what?
I think you should microdose every ester.
Yeah.
Because if you look into the clinical literature, every ester, regardless of the half-life, it peaks within 24 to 48 hours.
Right. Yeah.
So every other day administrations would be advised.
Yeah. Right. It does peak
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah, I noticed on Cypionate and Enanthate I could get away with every other day. Every day for me, I just wasn't getting enough to get the sexual function. Like I just need kind of a
Mhm.
little bit more of a DHT conversion. I just need more at a time. So going back to these like differences in metabolism dynamics, it's
Right.
like it's as if that bolus just metabolized somewhat quicker, and I just got more per punch. Like I just got more at the ARs. I got more
Right.
conversion to DHT. Um, yeah, that I mean, yeah, it's just such a fucking fascinating topic. Now I'm running I'm kind of in between protocols. I ran that DHT protocol for a while and started to see some hair loss, but had really great results on libido, erection quality, fucking fat loss. I was just shredded, just like it
Yeah,
was
I mean,
easy.
since the last time we did a podcast, you got leaner, and I
Yeah,
remember there was a year or something in between, and then
yeah.
when you go to the previous podcast, you have like a little bit of a round face, a little bit
Oh
more of a
yeah.
beard, and you
Oh
you
totally.
slimmed down tremendously, man. Good job on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank
Nice
you. I
work,
mean,
dude.
as we were
Yeah,
talking
nice
about
work.
before we got on here, it's
Yeah.
the drugs. It's honestly that Proviron really is such a powerful, powerful fucking drug. And running that in conjunction with cream, it made fat loss as effortless as it's ever been for me, probably ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It
Good
was
to hear, man.
honestly, yeah, pretty crazy. But now, so I'm in between protocols running prop largely. I'm running
Mhm.
70 to 80 milligrams every other day. I'm kind of in a point now where, I've run long esters for a while. I've run various doses. I've run various administration methods. I've ran various frequencies. I've run cream alone. I've run prop alone, but there's a lot I haven't done. Like I haven't ran high dose prop every other day, which is kind of what I'm trying to see how I feel and where estrogen goes and how sustainable that is and what it does to the bloods. I haven't ran cream and prop. There are a small subset of people that are doing this sort of hybrid TRT thing where they've got
Mhm.
cream that's facilitating a lot more DHT because it's applied scrotally, and then they've got
Right. Mhm.
a long ester or a short ester. So I kind of haven't done that yet. So I honestly am having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fucking fun doing this right
Experimenting is fun, man. I love
now.
it.
Yeah.
That's why I love
Yeah.
this bodybuilding space. You can do
Yeah.
protocol after protocol and learn something new every time.
Totally. I mean, I couldn't imagine how much over the years, like especially in bodybuilding, just from fucking with shit.
Too much.
Yeah, too much, right? That's why
Too
people are
much.
paying you the big bucks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And I kind of think test prop is making a bit of a comeback. I've talked about it a lot.
Mhm.
Um, for me personally, again, what sort of tipped me off to wanting to suggest it to other people was the libido, the erection quality, but the the rapidness with which I could change the protocol, but also feel the effects. I mean, I'm feeling prop that day. I'm feeling it later that night. Like
Yeah.
it's just very fucking quick. And whereas if you plot out a long ester, that you're really just kind of you're going like this very slowly, and it takes many weeks. And so um I know that prop is sort of inconvenient because you must inject it every day or every other day, or every third day at the very like at the
Mhm.
very
You
least.
can.
But But what is your, and the post injection pain sucks as well and whatever. But what is your take on prop for TRT? Would you rather have a person just try to dial in on a longer ester, or would you, in maybe cases where they kind of are having a hard time to fucking figure out what to do, what to inject, what the
Mhm.
protocols, would you have them go on prop? Do you have guys on prop?
I have some guys on prop, yeah. Like I'm of the opinion that whatever works, works. So
Yeah,
if you feel great on prop, we'll stick with prop.
yeah,
If you feel good on cypionate, we'll stick with cypionate. And if it's
yeah,
Enanthate or Undecanoate, whatever the injection protocol is, all you have to do is figure out what works for you. And
yeah,
that of course takes a couple iterations, right? So if you're now after your 2 years on HRT, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah. So after 2 years on HRT and some self-experimentation, you're leaning more towards prop.
yeah,
You do every other day shots, and maybe you do the cream protocol alongside of that.
yeah,
You do what, 5 milligrams scrotally and then 50 milligrams intramuscularly every other day.
yeah,
And if you feel like a fucking god on that, then yes,
yeah, yeah,
by all means, keep
yeah,
doing it. You know,
definitely.
that's
Yeah,
that's all that matters. Like I figured out a long time ago that Enanthate just works the best for me. Masteron
yeah,
Enanthate, Primobolan Enanthate, or
yeah. I've
Methanol
heard you
Enanthate.
mention that.
Testosterone Enanthate, it works best for me. I get the most stable levels. I don't get any fluctuations. I feel good. It always metabolizes. I don't get any post-injection pain.
Right.
So I tend more to lean towards Enanthate for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you like prop, you like 25 milligrams every day, and you notice in the evening that your libido goes up because again it metabolizes quite quickly.
Oh yeah.
Most of the testosterone probes are in grapeseed oil or cottonseed oil or MCT oil, so that absorbs also very rapidly.
Yeah.
And if that means that it's also tapering down already as you go to bed, you don't get this wakefulness. Like some guys, they get anxiety, right? Or they get
Yeah.
insomnia from TRT, especially
Yeah.
in the beginning, because they're
Right.
androgen deficient. They go from
Right.
200 nanograms per deciliter to 800.
Yep.
That's four times, right? And they're like, fuck, I can't sleep.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, then maybe a low dose prop, subcutaneous or intramuscular in the morning, will just bring you up high during the day, and then from 8 o'clock it starts to taper, and then by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock you can sleep again. Whereas
Yeah.
with Enanthate, it's basically continuous the whole day. You
Totally.
know?
One of the things about that whole anxiety thing at nighttime that I recognized, having to inject Cypionate for this trip recently, and
Mhm.
the first night having some anxiety, which I never fucking have. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be
Mhm.
running 70 a prop, which peaks me at 22, 2300 fucking nanograms per deciliter. Then I drop back down and I have none of that. But, a 200 milligram shot of Cypionate, and I, had a little bit of anxiety both nights, actually, the first night and the second night. The dynamics of how, first of all, how long they stick around, but also it's like I picture Cypionate as being like when you inject it, yes, it's releasing from the depot over the next 7 hours. Let's just call it 7 hours. Say you inject it
Mhm.
at 2 p.m. and you're going to go to bed at 9 p.m. Over the next 7 hours, you just have, it's like what I picture it as is you have constant testosterone being metabolized. You just have constant testosterone around.
Yeah.
There's no there's no vertical peak. It's just like it's just sort of saturating from every fucking angle. And I theorize that has a different effect on neurotransmitter production and synthesis.
Mhm.
That's what I think is happening in some
No,
of
the
these
100%, 100%, because look
yeah,
at the charts of testosterone release naturally. It's
yeah,
highest in the morning
right.
and it's lowest in the evening.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Oh yeah.
So
Definitely.
there must be a reason for that. Now, you can, of course, create similar peaks by going with testosterone suspension, right? You'll be walking post injection pain, right? You'll have pins and needles everywhere for
Yeah.
the rest of your life. So,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why it goes up in the morning and it tapers down at night. And same with growth hormone that pulses in the middle of the night to keep you asleep.
Right. Yes.
So you can try to mimic all these pulses, which is difficult, obviously,
Yep.
or you can kind of come as close as you can by injecting as early as possible and
Right.
sticking with shorter esters.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a shorter ester like testosterone propionate, you get net more milligrams testosterone because the
Right.
ester comprises less of the stuff that you're injecting.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I mean, yeah, prop has just been very useful for me experimenting. It's been useful for a couple guys of mine that are just having a hard time because of the steady state of a long ester. They're having uncontrollable acne, and these guys don't want to go on
Mm,
Accutane. They're
no.
working with me, and I'm getting all the sexual function people and sexual dysfunction people, and these guys
Mm,
know better than to try to fuck with that stuff. And so, yeah, I've just found prop to be I guess largely superior. You've got different things like Cypionate. It's very fucking easy. When I pin that 200 milligrams, it's just a
Mhm.
mill in and out, and I'm done. It took me five
Yeah.
minutes to do the whole ordeal, and I didn't have to think about it for 7 more days. And I really liked that. But again, all these benefits from prop being able to change it 2 days later if you're not satisfied with how the last 48
Right.
hours went.
Yep.
I just think you got to weigh out what makes sense for you, what you're willing to tolerate, because the PIP
Mhm.
sucks. Injecting frequently is kind of a pain in the ass, and then just kind of go from there.